Interfaces between road infrastructure and poverty in Africa, the case of Malawi, 1994 to 2013. This article is written by two authors. First author Abti Kalaledris. Second author Cliff Chianda. Contribution and originality of the study is that, this study is one of the few studies which have analyzed the influences of road infrastructure on poverty in Malawi. It also demonstrates how road infrastructure development enhances economic growth, which is the engine of combating poverty in Malawi. It, in fact, investigated the links between various economic growth variables, road infrastructure development and alleviation of poverty in Malawi, as a whole. Critical assessment on the correlation between public investment on road infrastructure and poverty was carried out, and therefore this research paper provides an in-depth analysis of the linkage between road infrastructure and poverty, as well as other relevant macroeconomic variables used in the Malawi Growth and Development Strategy, MGDS, as target indicators. Using primary and secondary data from 1994 to 2013, dynamic time series models were applied in elaborating the various factors with thrust on road infrastructure that may influence poverty in Malawi. Noting poverty reduction as priority of Malawi government's development agenda since the early 1990s, MGDS provides the country's socio-economic growth and development platforms. According to the latest 2010 Integrated Household Survey, IHS3, the majority of Malawians, 50.7%, are languishing in abysmal poverty. This level is remotely far from the MGDS target of 27% by end 2015. The country has a high inequality index, Gini 0.38, reflecting profound inequalities in access to assets, services and opportunities across the population. The distribution of the benefits of economic growth is also important for the alleviation of poverty. However, the distribution of income and wealth are highly skewed, with a majority of the population living in a state of absolute poverty. Based on NSO surveys, 1998 to 2010, the poorest 20% of the population control only around 10% of national consumption, implying inequality is not decreasing at all for a long time. Hosts of factors explaining why poverty level continues to be rampant are: share of agricultural as a percent of GDP, proxy to agricultural production, and export as percent of GDP, proxy to exports. However, this paper findings show that there is significant, p equals 0.0000.05, relationship between road network and poverty levels. Estimates from Granger causality analysis indicate that for 1% increase in road network, a reduction of 7.2% in poverty level is perhaps achievable. Average inflation rate over the last 20 years stands at 22.41%, and this has an immense impact on poverty level since it dramatically reduces the purchasing power of the majority of the population. For a 1% increase in the inflation rate, there is a consequence of about 3.7% increase in the average poverty level. Average gross domestic product, GDP, growth rate is 4.7% annually, with a minimum of -4.9% and a maximum of 10.2% in the last 20 years. Poverty level appears to significantly respond to GDP. There is a 4.27% reduction in poverty level if a 1% GDP increment takes place, as shown in the dynamic time series analysis. In fact, the declining of agricultural production for export and the growing gap in balance of payment, average Malawi kwacha -498.92 billion or approximately USD 1.1 billion, would immensely influence GDP negatively, and therefore poverty becomes abysmal as GDP growth plummets. In a nutshell, the findings confirm that in the long run economic growth is the key to alleviation of extreme poverty, since it creates the resources to raise incomes. Given the importance of agriculture in contributing towards GDP in Malawi, the positive impact that this sector has on poverty is evident. For agriculture to meaningfully impact economic growth, road infrastructure plays a great role. Other pro-poor variables such as development roads and other investment on infrastructure are vital for economic growth and hence poverty alleviation. Thanks for watching this video of PAC Publishing Group of Journal of Social Economics Research Volume 4 Issue Number 1.